So hey guys, this is the dialogue, and I thought that I would read the body language of Barack and Michelle Obama on what's next for Barack and Michelle Obama's video that has just been released a few days ago. So let's have a look at what they're saying.
After 8 years in the White House, Michelle and I now rejoin all of you as private citizens. We want to thank... Hello, everybody. After 8 years in the White House, Michelle and I now rejoin all of you as private citizens.
Okay, if you see Michelle Obama's mouth here, you'll see that her mouth or her lip has slightly risen on the left-hand side. And what this suggests is that she has a little bit of contempt / or regret over what Obama just said. It means that she's now becoming a citizen.
We want to thank you once again from the bottom of our hearts for giving us the incredible privilege of serving this country that we love.
So as we go along, I'm just going to focus on Michelle, and I may flip back over to Obama, but I'm focusing on her mainly.
We also want to tell you a little bit about what we'll be up to.
So when she nodded her head there, she agreed with Obama, and that came through on her body language.
Next.
First, we're going to take a little break.
You'll notice she's leaning into Barack, which means she's extremely comfortable with this man, and obviously he's comfortable with her. His face is turning in towards her, and her face is full on to us or is coming this way. Body language is not falling apart, which means they've actually got a good relationship, most likely.
We're finally going to get some sleep and take some time to be with our family and just be finally going to get some sleep and take some time to be with our family and just be still for a little bit.
Okay, so if you saw her face, Michelle Obama's face, she sort of screws it up a bit. Let's have a look.
Our family and just be
right there. So she screwed up her face even a bit more. So she's screwing up her face because maybe she is in regret that she no longer is going to face that high fame, high-paced lifestyle with all of the accolades that go with it, or she has had enough and she's just happy that she just wants to give it up and just become a normal citizen.
Still for a little bit. So we might not be online quite as much as you're used to seeing us.
But before that...
So it's interesting how it's cut, and you have to ask yourself, why was it cut just there? Did they lose it? Did they not rehearse themselves properly? You can tell that both of them have rehearsed this very, very well, by the way.
We want to invite you to help us with just one of the projects we're excited to work on.
Okay, so they've got a project coming up and they're both in sync, which means they're both believing in this.
We get back. Check out this website for our future presidential center. The center will be based on the south side of Chicago, but it will have projects all over the city, the country, and the world.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the word center.
But it will have projects all over the city. Website for our future presidential center. The center will be based...
If you see Michelle, she's slightly moved up. So let's have a little look.
Will be based...
She moved up again.
The center will be based...
So she's moving up on center, which means she finds that significant. So to her, the center is significant, and it shows in her body.
On the south side of Chicago, but it will have projects all over the city, the country, and the world. More than a library or a museum, it will be a living, working center for citizenship. That's why we want to hear from you.
Interesting how they cut that right there. There was a definite cut and not the same flawless cutting to camera. It's editing going on here. So they probably had a cut, changed it, and reshot that part of all the speech.
Tell us what you want this project to be, and tell us what's on your mind.
Send us your ideas, your hopes, your beliefs about what we can achieve together. Tell us about the young leaders and companies and organizations that inspire you. This will be your presidential center just as much as it is ours.
Okay. You can't quite believe that because she's not quite believing it. So this will be your presidential center just like it is ours. But look what her head is doing.
This will be your presidential center just as much as it is ours.
So she's not really believing that. So either they're not going to put in the effort to this site and all you guys or the public will, or the public will do all the work and they'll just be reading it all and not really having a lot to do with it. So who knows if this is their baby and they still want to run it how they deem fit, or if it's truly for the people.
So we want you to tell us what we should be thinking about
so that seems congruent
as we get to work.
It's going to take all of you and your ideas to make it a reality. As I've said many times before, true democracy is a project that's much bigger than any one of us. It's bigger than any one person, any one president, any one government. It's a job for all of us. It requires everyday sustained effort from all of us. The work of
Okay, so if you look at Michelle's face slightly, there's that slight smile up this way coming up.
all of us.
From all of us. So it's going to take a whole lot of work from all of us. So either she doesn't believe what he's saying, or there's slight contempt and she is believing that, you know, maybe there's going to be too much work on their side, or the public's.
The work of perfecting our unions never finished, and we look forward to joining you in that effort as fellow citizens. Thank you, and we will see all of you again soon.
Interesting, this seems like more of a genuine smile here rather than all the smiles that we got before. However, she's not opening her mouth that much, which means she's keeping a whole lot back, and I would say she's quite polished and she is controlled. So she's very rehearsed, polished and controlled all the way through. And no, guys, I don't believe she's a man, by the way. That's not a man's hand. Moving on, we're going to have a look at Obama now. Okay, so I'm focusing on Barack Obama at the moment, and even though Michelle is talking, I'm going to be looking at Mr. Barack Obama.
We're going to get some sleep and take some time to be with our family.
He agreed with that.
And just be still for a little bit. So we might not be online quite as much.
And did you see his little pout there? He's not online as much. So he regrets not being online as much as he has. Or it could be a subconscious delivery or facial expression, micro expression of regret that he won't be in the limelight as much. You need more information to really know what's going on.
You're used to seeing us.
But before that, we want to invite you to help us with just one of the projects we're excited to work on.
Okay, so if you look at Obama, since he's been in office and even ran, he's also very polished. He's also incredibly controlled. His body language has been worked on. He's worked and worked on his body language because he's not revealing so much. However, he's also got his index finger touching his thumb, and that's also an anchor movement to anchor him, to anchor the audience to what he's saying. It makes him more believable, put it that way.
When we get back, check out this website for our future presidential center. The center will be based on the south side of Chicago, but it will have projects all over the city, the country, and the world. More than a library or a museum, it will be a living, working center for citizenship.
Interesting. Working, living center for citizenship. So if it's going all over the world, what does that mean by citizenship? So does that mean that people from all over the world can feel like being a citizen of the United States? It's an odd concept.
That's why we want to hear from you. Tell us what you want this project to be, and tell us what's on your mind.
Send us your ideas.
Notice how he goes down at the end of his sentences in a deliberate way. This isn't just bad acting that you die at the end of your sentences and it doesn't connect to the next one and therefore you're unbelievable. This is a deliberate deflection down to hone home the points of what he's saying. It's to make him appear more confident about what he's talking about. Again, that seems quite controlled.
Your hopes, your beliefs about what we can achieve together. Tell us about the young leaders and companies and organizations that inspire you. This will be your presidential center just as much as it is ours.
Barack Obama is nodding his head slightly, so he's in agreement with what she's saying.
So we want you to tell us what we should be thinking about as we get to work.
It's going to take all of you and your ideas to make it a reality. As I've said many times before.
Okay, so he just shook his head, as you said many times before.
True democracy is a project that's much bigger than any one of us.
Okay, so he's talking about democracy and it's bigger than any one of us. So he was in slight disagreement with what he was actually saying.
Any one person, any one president, any one government. It's a job for all of us. It requires everyday sustained unions never finish. And we look forward to joining you in that effort as fellow citizens.
So he is in agreement with what he's saying now.
Thank you, and we will see all of you again soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, so most of what they're saying is congruent with what they mean. There is some slight discrepancies with them not quite believing everything they said in terms of democracy. They seem to both regret, in a sense, not being at the forefront of everyone's mind, being the President and the First Lady. So there is some sort of regret going on there, as you would probably most likely gather. But this is the dialogue. Thanks so much for watching. Please ding my bell if you would like some more videos. I have a video on Clinton herself and the inauguration. Please check it out. Thanks very much. The dialogue.